Tennessee dominates Syracuse in what was a resounding win for the number 24 team in the country, and they should be moving up the rankings rather quickly as we saw the kind of Tennessee football team that could make it back to the college football playoff, and Joey Aguilar got a little wiggle to him. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. This is your first time watching Adapt and Respond. Thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below as I hit the microphone. Did you expect Tennessee to drop 40 on Syracuse? Because I did. Earlier in the week when I did the preview prediction segment for this game, I asked, if you picked Syracuse to win this game, I needed to know why. Tennessee entered this game as damn near 14-point favorite, as Syracuse even got to be the home team in Atlanta, which felt kind of foul. But the orange versus orange ended up being, no, our orange is brighter and better than your orange. Even with Joey Aguilar at quarterback, if nothing else, we learned that Joey Aguilar might actually be a step up from Nico Iamaleava last year. I mean, wasn't outstanding, right? 16 of 28 for 247 with 3 TDs. The 3 TDs is outstanding. But it was really the efficiency of the offense that I was so enjoying, because I didn't know that they were going to be this good from the start with a new quarterback, a guy that frankly hadn't played with Tennessee until preseason camp. But when you have a run game like Tennessee has, you get to throw the ball down the field. Star Thomas had damn near 100 yards on the ground. Deshaun Bishop, 9 for 70. Peyton Lewis started out really bright. 8 for 38 is what he finished with. Braylon Staley was outstanding with 4 catches, 95 yards, and a TD. I kept going down, okay, why does it feel like Tennessee is just moving the ball at will? Because they were 7 of 12 on third down. And when you take in the scoop and score in the first half, they're up 31-14 in the first half. 31 points they scored in the first half. Then you get the throttle back, and they got to play the kind of football that Josh Heupel likes to play. They want to go tempo, they want to go fast, and they want to run the ball. They're going to run for over 2,500 yards every year with Josh Heupel. That's just what they're going to be. But now they got 1, 2, and 3 backs that they can cycle through. Maybe one guy emerges to be the guy, but in the way that Dylan Sampson needed to be the straw stirring the drink last year, you've got 3 guys that I think can carry the load for you. You're also looking at a Tennessee defense that was getting home. Like, Tim Banks was in his bag. I mean, I was excited. They got to Steve Angeli 5 times in this game. 2 turnovers. I mean, yeah, you got the penalties, 7 for 65, but would you like a cleaner game? You would absolutely like a cleaner game. I think more than anything else, we needed to see that Tennessee was not just a top 25 team, but perhaps a top 15 team and capable of competing for that 3rd, 4th spot in the SEC, which 4 might get into the college football playoff this year, given the changing format and how we're selecting who gets to go, as opposed to, a convoluted method of the 5 highest ranked conference champions. Now we get straight seeding, right? Straight seeding feels like Alabama would have got in last year over Southern Methodist. This year, if Tennessee's in that spot, I mean, you got the big game against Georgia where you get to really find out whether or not you get to compete for an SEC championship. But after watching the defense dominate for Ohio State against Texas, the team that was the number 1 ranked team coming into this week, you feel like if Tennessee can be as balanced as they were against Syracuse up and down their schedule, they'll be great. Now, Syracuse is not indicative of the upper echelon of the SEC. We know that. Number 1, there's no number next to their name. Number 2, they go from thinking Ricky Collins is going to be the guy to bringing Steve Angeli in, to Steve Angeli winning the job. And as much as I want to see some good things from Tennessee, I want to see some good things from Syracuse as well. Because when I looked at Syracuse, I said, okay, who's going to be your playmakers? And turns out Yasin Willis is a playmaker. Dude went 23 rushes for 23 rushes, 3 TDs, 91 yards on the ground. Jonte Cook showed up, 6 catches, 58 yards. I thought those 2 guys needed to help Steve Angeli out if they were going to have a shot. Turns out they're just not enough, right? Tennessee's just a better, more talented football team. And you got to feel good about that if you're a Tennessee fan. You go from needing to have this be a bridge year to Faison Brandon and Tristan Keys showing up in 2026 to feeling like you got some found money here with Joey Aguilar in what is basically a trade of quarterbacks for a guy that was going to start at UCLA this year, ends up at Tennessee because Nico Iamaleava tried to hold out last spring and ends up needing to hit the portal and ends up at UCLA. They're going to play Utah later tonight, and I think that game is going to be interesting because Utah's coming off a 5-win season, but we think they're going to be good with Devin Dampier and Jason Beck. Maybe modernize the offense into one that throws the ball all around the yard a little bit. But When the game went up 45-26, put it another way, ESPN said, enough of this. We're not finishing this game. We're moving it to ESPNU so that we can get you to Alabama, Florida State, which we know is the game that's going to be more competitive than the one you're watching right now, as the number has gotten named by Tennessee, right? About the third quarter, midway through the third quarter, gas comes off a little bit. You also got to see Syracuse get a few stops, get back into the game. Fran Brown's going to get to say some nice things to his players about how they played in the second half, but the game was over in the first half. So I don't know how much you're going to be able to take out of that. I also think that this is a game that Tennessee needed to get under its belt. You needed to feel good after the offseason you had, where Boo Carter needs to come back, where you're out without Jamar McCoy for weeks, right? You're not really sure what you got at quarterback until you get it on the football field. You know that you got talent at tailback, but nobody that has been productive in the way that Dylan Sampson was productive as Offensive Player of the Year in the league last year. Now, you know without a doubt you have the goods to go compete. And you will be in every game you play this year. Will you be favored when you play Georgia? Absolutely, positively not. Will you be favored when you play Alabama? Probably. Will you be favored when you play Oklahoma? Maybe. Could be. Right now, probably not, depending on how you feel about where Oklahoma ranks. I got them at 10. The AP's got them, I think, at 18, and they're not ranked in the coaches poll. So nobody really has a consensus on where Oklahoma's going to be by the time they play November 1st. But I think if you're a Tennessee fan, you feel outstanding about this. And if you feel outstanding about this, you ought to go into next week going, okay, cool. Now that we have this interesting, if not marquee, Power 4 conference game under our belt, we got a decisive win here. Let's go take care of East Tennessee State. And let's get ready for number 5, Georgia, who will move up in the rankings, I think. We'll see how far Texas falls. But right now, I feel really good about Georgia being in that top 4 there. UAB, you're going to stomp a hole and walk dry. Mississippi State, you'll beat. Arkansas, you should beat because that's a vengeance game for you. Remember, you lost that team as the number 4 ranked program last year. And then you got at Alabama, at Kentucky. That one's kind of squirrely, but you ought to get over there. Oklahoma, New Mexico State, you'll beat. At Florida will be, I think, the game in which we get to find out which one of those teams is going to make the college football playoff. I think both Tennessee and Florida, they got an opportunity here to really squeeze in a year where we're not sure that Bama's going to be there. We don't know what Oklahoma's going to be. Auburn was able to beat Baylor, but that doesn't mean much of anything anyway. And that's the other thing here. The SEC only loss so far in a high-profile matchup has been Ohio State, the defending national champ. Tennessee beats an ACC Syracuse, right? We got to see Auburn beat a Big 12 Baylor. We'll keep looking for those. We'll keep looking for trends because a lot of the conversation has been about how the Big Ten and the SEC are big boying the rest of college football and whether or not that's fair. Well, if you're looking at the results on the football field, Syracuse was never in this game against Tennessee. And Tennessee got stomped out by Ohio State, but Tennessee also wasn't sniffing the SEC championship game last year. That's the difference here. When you are looking for a difference, look at Tennessee today with a brand new damn quarterback and Syracuse coming off of 10 wins and see damn near 20 points was the winning margin. I think we know what we know about Tennessee and we know what we know about the SEC.